Whap is going on, everybody in the ether. How are you? Welcome to the Bitchuation Room podcast live. That was a little hat tip to the boss bitch, Bernie, babe, Cardi B, who dropped WAP this week. No, we're not going to talk about it for the hour. Do I want to? A little bit. Yeah. Okay. If you've been listening to this show for, I don't know, all of its 40 episodes, you know that I'm a big Cardi B fan. Love her so much. And watch the video alone. Just don't, do it in the privacy of your own home. Anyway, I'm so glad you guys are here. Thank you for being here in this live stream. All the future people listening as a podcast, all the present people, live in the present, people. All right. It's a Sunday kind of brain right now. Hi, Andrew Darius on YouTube, John Ross on YouTube, Alicia on YouTube, Tom Will on Twitch. Sup, dude? Thank you for holding it down on the Twitch streamers. Once again, I will launch a channel of just me failing to do the same jump on God of War or whatever game you guys play. I'm going to do that. It'll just be me streaming and like failing to even get to the bad guy because I've fallen on a jump you're supposed to make. It'll be great. We have such a good episode and show for you today. Zahra Noorbakhsh is here, comedian, and so is Marisa Franco. We're talking about immigrant rights. We're talking about Bernie. We're talking about Biden. We're talking about that little clash, that little mesh of boomer madness and what's going to happen. We're talking about the post office and what the fuck is going on and why the administration is trying to systematically dismantle it and whether they're going to be successful. Oh, not if we take the streets for stamps. Do it. We might have to do it. It'll be good. It'll be good. So as always, this show is free. Because like you got to give out free content, give it out, free, more. Feed the Zuckerberg machine. In fact, on that note, I wanted to let you know that we are going to be phasing out our Facebook live stream. All right. So all of you on Facebook right now, all of you, Facebergs, all of you, Zucker buddies, you gotta make the move to YouTube. All right. Facebook is preying on us. They're electing authoritarians. I feel like I voted Duterte in the last election. I didn't even know that was an option. But we're moving only to YouTube. If you're listening to this as a podcast, rate this podcast 5 stars. I'm back and forth with my announcements here. We're also on Twitch. I mentioned that before. Sorry about that, Facebook. But just get over to YouTube. It's easy. It's the other giant tech conglomerate. Yeah, go over there. But I was going to say the show is free and we take donations every single week, tips that help us stay afloat and also help out different organizations and grassroots work and struggle that we're trying to uplift. This week, because of the spread of COVID in correctional facilities, in prisons, with incarcerated populations, specifically in California, where it's been very rampant despite, our Batman governor trying to do the right thing. He's not. In fact, he needs to be decarcerating, getting people out of prison. They're still there. They are at risk. They are in tight quarters. That has not changed. It's a humanitarian crisis. So we're donating to Restore Justice, which is protecting the incarcerated community in California from COVID, getting people N95 masks, getting people soap, because I think you guys know there's a shortage of soap as always. That's somehow a luxury, You'd think it's a human right at this point. It should be for most people. And all the people who can afford soap never use it. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I'm going to stop yammering alone and bring in 2 wonderful guests. She is a comedian, a co-host of the podcast Good Muslim, Bad Muslim, writing essays featured in the New York Times and for NPR's Fresh Air with Terry Gross. This August, you can catch her on an upcoming episode of CNN's United Shades of America with W. Kamau Bell. Please welcome Zahra Noorbakhsh.
Hello, welcome to my room.
It looks great. Just paint a
Thank
picture
you.
for the podcast people, Zahra. It's wow. Is that a chandelier?
That's a chandelier right there.
Whoa.
That's my microphone chandelier.
Nice. And a hot tub. Wow.
Yeah, that's a hot tub. And I dip in it when I need ideas.
Totes.
And obviously time travel, because that's what, I mean, everybody.
Is that like a Muslim thing? Or like, and we can time travel?
That's exclusive to Muslims. That's, yeah. You have to be Muslim to time travel. That's really the only...
I've been moving all week, Zahra, and I had a Russian moving company. I don't think the company was Russian, like it was in English, but all the movers were Russian. And this one dude, just like as he's like holding a box of my stuff, was just like, Donald Trump has a time machine.
What?
And he can see into the
Shut up, he did not say
and
that.
I was like, yeah, no, please. Oh yeah, dude, I'm gonna tip real well. So why don't we just not talk like solidarity essential worker? But I thought
it was gonna
great.
go like he has a diaper. That was like that meme. He has COVID. Yeah. That was that, but time travel.
Yeah, he is a time machine. He can see into the future. I didn't believe it at first, is what he said. And then,
you know what? I have never wanted to hop out so quickly from a skill. I don't need to be associated with time travel. That is absolutely not a Muslim thing. We have nothing to do with that. We stay here in the present.
You're a present person, as we've been saying. Well, welcome, Zahra. We love you in your room. So happy to have you here. And I want to bring in our other guest for the hour. She is a Latinx rights advocate and community organizer, co-founder and executive director of Mijente, an online organizing tool created to build political organization in the Latinx and Chicanx community, independent of the establishment of the Democratic Party and corporate interests, and to fight for economic, racial, gender, and climate justice. Just everything. Please welcome Marisa Franco.
Hey, how are y'all doing?
Hello.
I'm not time traveling. I wish I could to speed ahead of the pandemic, but the present here is it's 110 degrees outside. So yeah, I'm in my bedroom and the AC is off. So we'll see how I do in here.
Oh my God. Yo, turn that bad boy on. I've got mine. It's fine. Don't buy any of that BS about we can edit it out. It doesn't matter. Also, this is the cue where someone tells you, yeah, but it's dry heat, so it's not bad.
It doesn't matter. It's dry heat like you're in the oven, dry heat. So there's nothing about that feels pleasant.
Sauna, dry heat. So, well, okay, I don't have a sauna, unlike Zahra, in part of her hot tub.
I'm now in the hot tub just because I like the humidity, and the smell of the chlorine. I feel like it COVID preps me in a way.
Oh, you guys, we start off every episode of this podcast. This is your first time. I'm so happy you both are here. Our first segment is very basic. It's just kind of like a quick little, like when you go to a dinner party and it's like, oh my God, what are you bitching about? Or at least that's always the question I hear in my head. And then I get asked to leave. But it is, what are you bitching about this week or just in this moment? What you bitching about? Zahra, what are you bitching about?
Oh my God. You guys, my husband thought that a fast way to wash herbs is to put them in soap water.
Ugh.
What? Bechdel test, whatever. I'm bringing in my husband, but I'm in quarantine with this fool. Okay. And we're here.
You can't pass the Bechdel test if you tried at this point.
Oh my God.
If you're in a straight relationship.
What? Like how, as a Persian, like I live on herbs, herbaliciousness.
I'm just fucking with you about the H. It's for our British compatriots out there.
Fuck them. I cannot, like, the fact that he wanted to skip ahead of the labor of washing them with this quick fix of soap.
Was it like Dawn or dish soap?
It was hand soap. It ruined my cilantro.
Well, cilantro already tastes kind of like soap, right? So maybe he was just like, look, cutting out the middleman here.
I'm now wondering if it's the cilantro just tasted like soap and I yelled at him for nothing, but that doesn't matter because it's good for him to get yelled at. How about you guys?
I like this. Marissa, what are you bitching about?
Mine is kind of like a circular delayed bitch.
That's the best kind of bitch. It's a spiral.
So it somehow connects the Friday night, the recent Friday night massacre of what's happening at the Postal Service with the Trump donor who was appointed, who doesn't know shit about mail, who did a reorganization less than 100 days to the election. So, you know, we're paddling up shit creek without a paddle.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of had like a delay kind of ricochet to then like, I look at it from an activist perspective, right? Or an organizer. And so it's like, we are, you know, racking our brains trying to figure out how do you survive long enough in the pandemic to be able to vote in November? But then how do you mobilize voters? Like literally, it's a headache. It's like, how do you do it? What the hell do we do? Like, it's just everything kind of all your plans up in smoke. And so then I'm just like, yo, there needs to be a division of labor in the progressive movement. And so we're over here trying to figure this out. But then I look to the liberals and the liberal call to action. I'm still fucking pissed about this Harper's Weekly letter. So the idea amidst the world burning, these assholes are sad because they're getting called out by somebody on Twitter when they used to be in
What is that?
Tells them anything, and it's cancel culture. It's like cancel culture is what you're worried about. How about just fucking cancel everything? You're about to be living under a fucking full blown dictatorship. And so it's like the circular thing, like kind of like I had like a delayed reaction to the Harper's magazine letter, and
Sure.
Like ugh.
It's like the sun. You can't look at it, you know, all at once. You're supposed to. Isn't that how you're supposed to look at sun? I don't know. Tell us how to look at the sun. That's the most Trumpian thing about me is that I do look at the sun. But the point is you can't. You gotta, you know, I totally know those stories where you're like, I can't deal with this. I read the headline, I'm like, nope. And then a couple weeks later, you're like, are you fucking serious? Like this. So the post office straight up will be canceled potentially. Mail will be canceled. And we're worried about the other males, mostly males in academia and writing and the elite spheres being canceled.
Exactly.
So many males.
Dude, I need to get washed out with a fucking cilantro or something after that. It's disgusting.
It's soapy.
It's so soapy. Someone in the comments says, Jack Taper says, soak the herbs in vodka. Feels like a waste of vodka unless you're infusing like rosemary vodka. Yeah. In which case that would be delicious. I'm
going to just say, just do the job that you set out to do. Why do you have to transform it into something? Just do the hard work.
Could it be that he was afraid of it being like infected with COVID and the soap part is maybe that?
Of course. Of course.
I can see myself
that was the retroactive excuse, obviously.
I feel like if I didn't catch him there, we would be then the next level drinking bleach. I feel like I saved us all.
The cilantro's just white. You're like, what the fuck? Picking cilantro off the stem, let's not get into it. That's one of the harder tasks. It's a lot. It's like very I mean, you know, it's not as hard as like most other things.
It's meditative.
Yeah, for sure. I'm bitching about something like also gigantic. It's just like it's August. It's the first week of August. March, April, May, June, July. It's 5 months for us in quarantine, in sheltering in place, supposedly. And 150,000 people have died. 5 million people have COVID. And I'm just like,
wow.
You want to talk about capitalism's death count? Here it is, motherfuckers. Like, I'm sick and tired of the socialism's death count, socialism, communism, X, Y, and Z. Like, we never problematize what is happening in this country and what happens under capitalist regimes as capitalist death count. This is the death count. It is go to work, go to school. Everything is fine and normal because the almighty market gods must be fed their daily sacrifice of human flesh meat, you know? And like, this is where we are. And so if anyone actually asks you, like, or talks about socialism in this way. Now, look, we're not comparing body counts. I don't want to get into that game at all. That's like, I'm not trying to do a whataboutism, but I'm like, motherfuckers, socialism is about universal health care and education and college and, safe communities and actual communities, housing. This is runaway extremist vulture capitalist bullshit right now.
But Francesca, what is the Democratic platform?
Good point. Not, like it's just a strong handshake. It's a strong Biden bony handshake. That's what it is, and that's all you need, because it's actually better than what's going on right now. Somehow.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds good too. That's
just a hello, good to meet you. Like, why is this 80-year-old like just? It's too strong. Marissa, have you met Biden in person?
In a neon sign, malarkey just flashing at
you. Oh
yeah,
malarkey. Yeah. It's a lot of prune juice and malarkey, and it's great.
And then you paddle up it.
You paddle up and get on board. Paddling through prune juice is a lot easier than paddling through shit without a paddle. All right.
I'm here for the images.
Fuck yeah, me too. I mix metaphors all the time. It's sort of it's a bad habit. All right, y'all. We are gonna move on to our little rundown of the week because obviously news comes at you real fast these days, and we don't know what day it is, what time it is, what's going on, what is life, what is time, what is space. This is our segment called The Week Where. Pick in a few news stories you should have caught last week, this week, and, just bringing them to the surface like an underwater fart that comes up. And you're like, all right, that piece of shit that I forgot about. Hopefully there's not actual shit. It's just a fart. All right, let's get into it. This was the week where Trump signed an executive order to ban TikTok within 45 days, the same amount of time it will take me to learn how to use it. This move is being called a major escalation between China and the United States. Say what you will about the feud, though. I'm going to say, it's a lot better than back in the days when we had, nuclear arms races or space races. Now, it's just a race to see who can create the biggest database of dog-filtered face people, It's and also, who knew the prequel to George Orwell's 1984 was just kids doing bad dance choreography? Orwell did not see that coming. The thought police was actually an original type of twerking, originally spelled THOT, like the thought police, Yeah. Oh, it gets darker. China is expected to retaliate, of course, which means brace yourself for access to Trump's draft tweets. It's coming. They're gonna be released, which I assume is just gonna look like the failed drawings of swastikas on the binder of a 13-year-old named Chad,
That sounds on brand. Yeah. Swastika Chad.
I'm still waiting for the P tapes. I'm holding out for the P tapes.
Oh man, I've been waiting.
I don't know if China has them, but they could buy them from Russia.
I mean,
I kind of wonder if the people on TikTok actually even know. You know what I mean? Because TikTok is kind of a hole. I spent 5 minutes there and I did time travel. It was 2 hours later.
Yeah. I get on TikTok to annoy my partner, Matt, because he'll look at videos with the sound on. So I'm like, oh, motherfucker, you want to do this? I'm going to roll through TikTok to annoy the shit out of you. And he's like, stop. It's it's very annoying. But I will say, if you guys haven't seen this, Kellyanne Conway's daughter
oh my God,
is on TikTok.
I love this story.
You heard about this?
Yes.
And is doing just, first of all, she's 15 and there's some scantily clad shit that I'm I need to not watch this. This is not okay for my, eyes right now. But she's also talk about communism or talk about socialism versus capitalism. Go. Debate it. And pictures of her crying, going You think your troll comments can get to me? My mom's Kellyanne Conway. Like, oh,
what does
my
that mean?
God.
What does that mean?
It means she's got the worst. She's got the worst mother to ever have been mother. She has.
I need to see this family comedy. I need to see.
Yeah. Oh man, it's George and Kelly and little Claudia and a few other kids in there, but they're unimportant. The important thing is Kellyanne Conway's daughter Claudia, just a little glitch in the fucking matrix, and I love it. But anyway, we've got 45 days, y'all. Marissa, you getting on?
Getting on what? What do you mean?
Yeah, TikTok.
I no, probably not. I'm not. I can't keep up with it, yo. I can't. You know what it is? I feel like it's filtered. It's like I get the best stuff. It gets brought eventually onto the other platforms.
Sure.
Trust other people's judgment. I just don't have like the idea of having to learn how to do it. It just makes me tired.
I'm saying it'll take 45 days.
Oh my God, you guys, you don't have to learn anything. You just lay down and stick your phone in your face and you let algorithms do their job. You just swipe, swipe, and you die slowly inside like everybody is already, but it's with dancing.
Totes. I'm telling you, it's
that's my official tutorial. Yeah.
Yes. And then, 2 + 2 = 5. That's what you're slowly learning. All right, moving on. This was the week where New York Attorney General Letitia James filed a civil lawsuit that would effectively dissolve the NRA. The lawsuit says that the NRA improperly spent funds, engaged in self-dealing, made false disclosures to the IRS, and that's just what they were doing while they weren't justifying the death of children or being a funnel for $35 million of dark money into the Trump campaign, most likely from Russia. I, for one, think that whatever happens, the NRA is not going anywhere. If anything, they're going to come back and maintain their 501c3 status by becoming a religion. They will turn themselves into a religion called pew-pewatology or small dick Catholicism or the Church of Latter-day Mass Shooters. Take your pick.
Yeah.
I really like pew-pewatology, but I feel like it's long.
Man, my barometer for like what if is broken, dude. Just like yes. I'm okay, sure. What else?
It already is a religion, gun worship. So it's just we're almost there. Anything to keep the money flowing, get Wayne LaPierre back to his Bahamas vacations on his private jets. Because that's apparently what he was doing with them. The nascent gun owner in me is very angry. I've never shot a gun. You guys shot a gun? Is it going to be that moment where you're like, you shoot one and you're like, oh my God, I get it now.
Yeah, I've shot a gun before. I went to like a handgun range and my neck really hurt after. It's a lot of stress. You contract really tightly and it sucks.
Yeah, the backfire goes all
unpleasant. You know what's so much better is a government that functions so you don't need a gun. I'm really more about that. How about you guys?
I mean, out here, I'll just say they have ladies' night at the shooting range, ladies' night happy hour. So that's kind of the situation that I'm dealing with out here.
And so you have to go as part of your work as an organizer.
Man, I just never been about it. I don't know. I'm kind of more of the like, you're coming for me? Okay.
I guess. Ho hum.
I'm not saying I go. I'm saying that's the situation where I'm
at. Yeah. That's what you're working with in Phoenix.
Yes.
I don't envy you. All right, moving on. This was the week where Republican Representative Louis Gohmert, who had regularly been showing up to congressional meetings without a mask, tested positive for coronavirus. Now, Gohmert is in fact blaming the times he did wear a mask as the reason he has COVID, saying that he touched his face more with a mask on. That's like saying the reason you're pregnant is because I was wearing a condom and I couldn't focus and I had to take it off. Louis Gohmert not learning his own very obvious life lesson is like if Ebenezer Scrooge actually went through the entire visitation of three spirits and then at the end was like, no, that was all just an undigested bit of beef and the poor still deserve to starve on Christmas Day.
What the hell? Man.
I just don't, I mean, I don't know. I feel like even just like Herman Cain died after going to the Oklahoma rally. And it's just like,
what else do you need?
What else do you need? Like, it's just, I don't
the market's still hungry. Just like, nom, 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 nom. Me still want more human sacrifice. Bring me the big orange one. Get me the orange.
This is what I'm saying. These guys, there's no point. Like you keep waiting, like that show where you're like waiting for that plot twist of when are they going to take responsibility? Never. They're never going to. That's how the show keeps going.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I don't watch Walking Dead, but it does feel like we're in sort of this endless, like, why do we always make the wrong decisions? Oh, that's the point. Got it.
Exactly. Destabilization.
One at a time. And now the fucking mail. This was the week where progressives, won key primary victories. In Michigan, Representative Rashida Tlaib handily won her reelection, and Ferguson BLM organizer, former pastor, nurse, and single mom Cori Bush beat 10-term incumbent William Lacey Clay Jr. in Missouri. Clay tried to paint Cori Bush as a radical who endorsed Bernie Sanders and supports boycott, divestment, and sanctions against Israel. And Cori was like, yep, I do. Yep. And so it backfired. I'm honestly like, of all this, like, I'm just so happy that the most popular politician with the last name Bush is a Black woman. And now if anyone asks me about the Bush family, I'm just going to refer to Cori and her kids and her family. I wonder what she's doing, because that's the Bush dynasty that I care about.
I'm so here for that. And I would like to add the hot take.
Hot take.
Yeah, Rashida. Woo! Yes. I'm so happy.
Ilhan Omar's election is coming up this week. I am not worried about that one, but there is a lot of money pouring into the other side. But I mean, you just do a cursory search and it's like, everyone from the New York Times to the Atlantic to other, liberal rags. But the point is that everyone's like, are the progressives here to stay? And you're like, yeah, they are. They're winning. They're winning and they are here to stay. Wake up, Nancy Pelosi, take off the Manolos, put on some fucking Crocs or
get
whatever.
Get that paddle. Let's get moving.
Get that paddle, girl. We need you. Actually, we don't. If you could just stay on the bank. Just stay on the bank and be like, you're doing great. Finally, in climate news, this was the week where the last Canadian ice shelf bigger than the island of Manhattan collapsed due to rising temperatures. And my mom wants to be a grandmother for some reason. Why? I wish that the actual island of Manhattan had collapsed into the ocean instead. Honestly, penguins greater than dirty pigeons and Wall Street bros. Also, you can keep Brooklyn. That'll still be around. That's fine. You don't need Manhattan. Manhattan is just a series of Shake Shacks. It's just dirty pigeons, Wall Street bros, tourists, and Shake Shacks. Okay, we can get Broadway and just bring it to Hollywood. All right, bring it to this cesspool.
Guess what my Broadway show is called?
What?
Destabilization.
Going back to it.
Oh my God.
It'll be great. It'll start. The first number is neoliberalism. Da, da, da. Yeah. Everyone will stick. It'll be the new Hamilton. Kids hate Hamilton now.
That's why we need TikTok to tell us what to think about new things and old things.
Yeah.
This ice shelf was that the ice shelf collapsing. That was my I'm here in body inside It's just an empty attic. I don't have anything when that happened. I don't like Antarctica hit 73
emotionally?
degrees.
Yes.
I got nothing.
Yeah. I mean, what do you even say to that?
What can you even say to the sound of falling ice?
Destabilization. You know, this musical is really writing itself.
Oh, it's going to be great. It'll be great.
It
Yeah, second act, collapse, rebuild. Is there a rebuild act?
Oh, definitely. The rebuild act goes, save the post office. That's an emergency. Have a post office. We're a first world nation, I thought.
Tight. I like it. Yeah, I was, there were a few years ago, there was like a photo or a video of these like walruses, just like a mass group of walruses that couldn't find ice to like latch onto and live on. And they were like, clearly under duress. These were stressed out walruses. And I, at that moment, knew. I was like, I would give my life for a walrus. Straight up. Like, if a walrus could live and I had to die, yes. If I could just Freaky Friday that and like a walrus could do my job, just be here fucking podcasting.
Oh, damn. That's really, you're presenting me with a dilemma here. Which would I listen to more? Francesca's podcast as a walrus?
Yeah.
Or the walrus inhabiting Francesca in the Bituation Room? That's a podcast paradox.
Yo, I mean, even if he or she or they take it into a right-wing direction, I don't care, boo. That's on you. Like, you got life now.
Could be a libertarian.
Definitely a libertarian.
With a gun dogma, the gun religion.
It's fine. It'll just be
like
like
guns with those teeth, yo.
You don't. You just flash them. It'll just be like the sound of just like on the mic, just like eating a fucking fish, and that'll be worth it because who am I? I'm a fucking one more human. Who cares? Walruses.
I am really turned on by that noise you made. Can you do it again?
Oh, some ASMR walrus shit. They're like, all right. That's enough. I make a stupid face when we do that, you guys. You're going to have to be fucking patrons to get the walrus bonus content. And that was the week where, y'all. Yay!
Woo, we made it. Whoa, we made it out.
We made it out. Now there's no more news. Thank fuck. Now there's only analysis. You guys, we are taking your tips, taking your money. And I forgot to announce what the handle was. It is TBR-Live on Venmo, TBR Live on Cash App. We're donating so that incarcerated people can have protections while they have to live in tiny, tiny cells with one another, and not enough precautions are being taken to keep them safe under COVID. It's a fucking crisis. Humanitarian crisis is ridiculous. They need that support. So tip us. It helps this show. It helps them. And you guys have been so great in the past. I'm so, so thankful of everything you've given. One of those groups that we did give a little bit of money to was Mijente, which is the organization that Marisa Franco is the national director of. And Marisa, I have so many questions for you because, you are obviously the national director of this awesome organization, but you also were on a Bernie Biden task force on immigration, specifically trying to get some of the more progressive kind of transformational policies onto the Biden platform. So I want to ask you all about that. But first, Mijente's done incredible work around immigration justice, getting tech out of business with ICE, shutting down detention centers run by GO Group, right, which is this, private company. They're obviously crazy windfall under Trump. You guys are doing great, badass grassroots work. And I think one of the things that you guys talk about is sort of shifting the paradigm and the narrative around immigration towards racial justice. And I feel like starting with some of the like 2006 major mobilizations around like immigrant rights and workers' rights, and then continuing on with the DACA protests and that happened under Obama. Like we've seen this incredible grassroots reshifting of this narrative around illegals versus human beings. How do you talk about that? Making sure that we have that narrative shift.
Yeah, well, first, thanks for having me on. I think that to me, so I don't come out of the immigrant rights movement. My organizing, I did different kinds of organizing. And one of the things that was marked to me was this feeling of like, the way that immigrants were branded, like the way that immigrant rights movement, like the demands, the tone, the way like really like there was this underlying effort to make immigrants more palpable, and to really have an argument that's like, what's in it for Americans? Look how much we pay in taxes. Look how much we contribute. We don't commit crimes. Look at the valedictorian of Harvard. Look, this person, So that's kind of been, I think, the approach, and it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked at all. In fact, it's been a resounding failure, because the situation has gotten worse over the period that you're talking about. While there has been advances, it's been amidst really from 9/11 and the creation of Department of Homeland Security, this this kind of security first, enforcement first approach.
Right.
But in that making it palpable, there's this complete disavowal, I think, of racism and the racist legacy of this country. And so I think one of the ways that we've tried to intervene on that is to cultivate this idea that our fates are linked with other marginalized people, with other people who are othered in this country, like Black folks, like queer folks, like poor folks, like Indigenous folks. And really, presenting a case that like all these different, strategies, these approaches haven't really gotten us super far. This idea that, I think when it comes down to it, people like the idea of like immigrants working for them. They like the idea of immigrants serving them. They like to consume the culture of the countries where immigrants come from, but they don't want them living on their block. They don't want them dating their children. They don't want them, going to their children's school. And so it's really trying to cultivate, like how do we show up to places like Washington, D.C., not on our hands and knees, kind of like begging, but like hold our head up high and retake our own humanity, and understand the history of this country, and understand our own lineage as people who come from immigrants, and really coming from a position of like seizing our own humanity, owning our own power, and really moving from a kind of a posture of self-determination, recognizing that yes, it is, not having papers, not having legal status is a huge, huge impediment. But the second that we stop and look and see that it's not just about papers, it's actually about skin color, it's about being othered, then we have an opportunity to join a much bigger fight, a much broader coalition that's looking for much broader change. And I think that it's about then what are the particular fights that we take on inside of the immigrant rights movement, and then how willing are we to roll with other movements and other communities, and not just kind of stay in that lane.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just like, right. I mean, it's so myopic and short-sighted to be like, the goal of this movement is to be in the model minority category. Like,
Right.
No, fuck that, that's not good either, and I think Maurice Mitchell of Working Families Party tweeted something recently based on the George Floyd, full video of the arrest, the dashboard cam, etc. And just like, again, reiterating, and the thing that struck me so much is that George Floyd's crying as he's being approached, and the way that if he were white, he would be treated differently. And it doesn't matter, you know, again, you could be like, again, the president of the birdwatching society in Central Park or whatever. It doesn't matter all the accolades that you have when so much systemic racism exists against you. And so you could work for all that, and it won't change. All right. I wanted to ask you, obviously, Mijente endorsed Bernie Sanders. And I remember when you endorsed Bernie Sanders, it was like, we're picking like
our target.
Our target, exactly. Thank you. I was going to say foe, but I'm like, no, it was better than that. We're picking our target. We're picking who we feel like we want to push in, you know, in the White House. And not like our BFF or someone who we think is perfect in every single way. Then Bernie didn't, you know, win the nomination. How has that been? Like, how was the nomination? How was the endorsement process why Bernie Sanders, and how was that? And then how has it been pivoting after this kind of crushing, I think, no matter who you were for, because God damn it, the Biden camp was surely the least energetic, you know, after this like crushing defeat. How has it been kind of pivoting your organization and sort of the mindset from this like strategic movement perspective?
Yeah, if we could do another round of like, what are you bitching about? I would definitely go into like post primary and like what happened during, because I have a lot of things I would bitch about.
The whole thing's a bitch sesh, baby.
You should really do after the DNC, you should do a primary bitch like situation room.
We absolutely are. Yeah. It'll just be a scream room mostly. Just a padded room.
Walls are padded. No, I mean, I think that like I don't come out of like electoral organizing. Definitely, if there's the ballot and the bullhorn, I'm all bullhorn. But I'm also like, you know, when we built Mijente, we were like, yo, like there's really not a lot of infrastructure that's like bringing in Latinx people to take action on the problems that are happening at the local level and in all the way up to the federal level. And so part of it is both like, what do we think is going to work? Well, it's not just one thing that's going to work. We've got to try everything. And so we want to bring together the people that are like, the answer is voter mobilization or voter blah, 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 register people. And they're like, kind of like the same, you know, that person, I don't know if y'all
right. GOT
meetings that they're like always the same thing. Then everybody kind of groans. And then it goes on to the next person that's like, fuck the state, fuck everything. We just need to build a commune. Like I do a community garden and the world is anew and everything's fixed. And then, and then the third that's like super granular, like policy, you know, fighting against something, fighting for something, which I think is kind of the totality of, I think like a lot of the progressive movement is fighting for and against policies. And so we really said, well, how do we bring all these people together? And it's like, yo, stop being a little brat. Basically, like, you know, it's US chauvinism that like in activist circles it happens where like, oh, for real, you don't believe in my strategy? Okay, let me take my toys and go home. And it's like, actually look at examples of places in the global south, of movements in the global south that are equally like doing land takeover and running people for president. Like it can be done. It should be done. We should not cede anything. Yeah. And so we have to contend for power on all fronts. And I think that was like on a foundational level, like what we're trying to inoculate in young Latinx people. Latinx people are the youngest demographic in this country. And so it's like, how are we very intentionally modeling, like, what does it mean to have a radical politic that's deeply like practical and like, and engages with the world as it is. And so, I think a lot of us had a lot of feelings about 2016 and, you know, like having like the feeling like, Clinton's going to win. It's going to be the same thing always. And then seeing Trump win and like really seeing like painfully like like elections matter, you know? And so both for like the health of Mijente, like political maturity is like, yo, and like movements, people need to debate. We need to be able to debate and pick something and hold that it's not perfect. There is this like utopic shit that's in movement that's, kind of annoying. So we picked Bernie. It was our first presidential pick. I think Bernie did tremendous work. The Bernie campaign did tremendous work mobilizing Latinos. And I think it showed in our process. And it's been, I think it's been a really beneficial process, both for like the political maturity of the organization and the different opportunities and relationships it's allowed us to build. So I think overall, we're obviously not happy about the outcome, but we don't have regrets about, our endorsement and how we went about it.
Yeah. And that led you to, you spoke at rallies, and Bernie picked you to be on this task force, right? So after he lost, there was a series of awkward boomer zoomer conversations between Bernie and Biden. And it was like, Bernie, I really appreciate you. I want to be the most progressive candidate or president, since that pause was intentional. Since FDR. And Bernie was like, okay, we'll see about that. Anyway, it can be FDR. I was supposed to be FDR, but then there were these task forces around climate justice, around healthcare, and around immigration, and you were on it. And I'm so curious as to how that went, and whether you felt like it was like an honest process to really listen to progressive voices and people who were on the Bernie side.
Yeah, there was 5 people picked by the Biden campaign and then 3 picked by the Bernie Sanders campaign. So, and I mean, so it was like, you got to chalk it up to the game. We definitely didn't have numbers, but we did have leverage. So I thought it was a super smart move on the part of the Sanders campaign, both because it was like, yeah, they could have that little like, what's she gonna, I'm gonna commit to this. Oh yeah, for real, I want you to do this. I'm not gonna do, they have their own negotiation, but like what Bernie basically did was like, cool, but let me bring in all these other people that we're gonna have this very public, process to build unity. And then so he told us like, yo, you're not gonna get everything, but we're going to the table and like, how do we keep pushing forward? So everybody was kind of like, all right, cool. Like people felt like it was, worth it to try. Because the other side of it, is like, the thing has been like, what do you do with Trump on the other side? Like, how do you actually push Biden to the left? When like, if you really damage him, you're looking at kind of strengthening Trump's hand. Like that's a really difficult political pickle. So I think that given that, I think that something I heard, I guess what I'll say about the process is something I heard about Biden that I thought was interesting is that he is moving like a party leader and not an ideological leader. So like what I felt compelled was that like, for better, I agree with most of it, right? But like Bernie and Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, Hillary Clinton are very rigid in terms of what they think. By their ideology and their policies, like I might agree, but they're very clear. Biden's not really that way. Like he's not going to move on anything that he already agreed to, like he already says a position on, but everything else was pretty fair game. And I thought the process was what I expected. I didn't expect them to like, do everything we wanted. It's going to be a fight. It was a fight, and there's going to be a fight as we move on. But overall, I thought it was a good move by the Sanders campaign to push for it and to include all these activists. And I think the Biden campaign, in agreeing to do it and promoting it the way they did, I think it was a good faith effort to show some level of unity and recognize, as you said at the beginning of the show, the growing power of progressives.
Yeah. I just want to read some of the wins that you got out of it and ask you what was left on the table. Establishing a 100-day moratorium on deportations, including a full ICE audit, ending private detention, huge, ending 287G and similar programs. What is that?
287G is basically when local cops become immigration agents.
Oh, fun.
It's a program. So it really sucks. So it's really good that it'll be gone.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, that's huge. So it's like essentially everywhere might be a sanctuary type city. Ish.
Well, yeah. Well, it's I mean, not to get into the weeds, but ish, yes.
Ish. Thank you. You know, ish is all sometimes you need a nice ish. Ending yeah, this is the issuation show room. Ending the infamous Operation Streamline, which basically treats anyone who enters the country illegally as a criminal. Free healthcare for all people, regardless of immigration status during this public health crisis, and then retiring some old slogans and solutions that have not served us and do not meet the moment. Did you guys haggle over the slogan? You guys have a new, is there a new slogan?
No new slogan. We just told them to stop, like, bury it underground, this comprehensive immigration reform as a slogan, as a strategy, as a legislation. Like, it fucking sucks and it really pisses people off. So stop saying it.
Saying comprehensive immigration reform.
Yes, because that's basically what every politician says. I'm going to pass comprehensive immigration reform. What the fuck does that mean? No one knows. And what it's become over time is like, the Democrats are getting this much, and then the Republicans, in order to get them on board, get this much, and then they still don't vote for it because you don't have power in Congress to make it happen. And so meanwhile, they've, completely railroaded us on other stuff. So it's just like, that was a failure, put it to bed, it's done. So
replace it with aquí estamos y no nos vamos.
Algo así, yes.
What was left on the table? Abolishing ICE?
Yes, I mean, dismantling DHS was talked about. There was like folks who are pushing to make USCIS, which just like layman is like when people are getting their citizenship or their green card or DACA, they go through this agency that's USCIS. I don't remember what the acronym is, but there was like a push, hey, take them out of DHS and make them their own cabinet position. Yeah. The cabinet of welcoming, whatever. And so there was talk about it, but yeah, obviously that was going to be a very huge endeavor that they weren't going to go for. The biggest thing I think we did not get, and they were very much not in a place to move, was surveillance. So for us, like with the No Tech for ICE campaign and the growing role that data and technology companies are playing in policing and in immigration enforcement, there was very little room, very little motion, and I think indicative of where things are going. I think we should all be very clear that as we win advances in, defunding the police or decarcerate or dismantle or like whatever advances we make, they're pivoting towards, more data or technology based forms of state control, just real talk. And when you look at who's big donors for the Democratic Party, it is a lot of folks in Silicon Valley whose business is some of this type of stuff. So
a Palantir. It's like no, cool. We don't need a wall. We've got you. We're in your pocket.
Yeah, fucking eyes of Sauron.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got this giant eye. That's
what it is.
It is.
Yeah. I know. I feel like, again, this TikTok thing is just reminding me that, and this whole bid to like sell it off to Microsoft is just like, oh, that's the future. Just being, a pawn and like a ping pong ball between two giant totalitarian states that want to vie for all of our data, i.e. mind control. Great. Is that what it is? Is that where we're at? But that's interesting that it was like, nope, we need that money.
Destabilization.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that it seems like, and this is from the outside, obviously, it seems like when it comes to the immigration task force, it was like, everyone's divvying up into like Biden and Bernie groups, don't share each other's work or whatever, like heads down. And you guys kind of won this project because I think other teams weren't as successful on some of the policy points, not all of them, but some of them I think were harder. And I feel like that's evidenced by the DNC voting against Medicare for all, for example, as like, they're not willing to go there type thing.
I mean, it's a little more complicated. So as I said before, he wouldn't, they wouldn't move on. And just to be clear, this wasn't my experience of it wasn't an independent process. So part of like what I was, when I was coming out of it was like, yo, this is consolidated. We need to treat this as like, do not take this. We can't take this as like, oh, we're going to review it and decide. No, fool, y'all were vetting it throughout the process. So this better damn well be the ground floor of what we're going to fight from. I still think that's a fight. The thing about the immigration versus healthcare is like Biden had a really clear position against Medicare for all.
Right.
And with immigration, the things that like 1325 or decriminalizing migration, like the policy that Julian Castro pushed really hard, that they were not movable on that. Not at all.
Say I love Julian Castro.
He was great. He was great. And he put that on the map and we were able to like move inches forward. So I'll just say like the things, I guess by and large, like our thing is going to be like, he doesn't want to talk about immigration now. So I would say like the group, the task force that came out, like kind of got the most and it's moving is climate because they both were able, they still didn't get Green New Deal, obviously, but like they got all these like kind of like scaffolding little demands that get you closer. And where like Medicare for all, they're just like not willing to move because they ran against it. The fight with immigration is going to be, does he talk about it? Because Trump wants to make this about immigration. Biden doesn't want to talk about immigration. And so our fight's going to be like, we want to make sure. So we got some stuff. Are they going to do it? Are they going to commit to it? And if he wins, is he going to implement it? And I think that's the most important thing that we should be doing in this time, in addition to making sure that we survive till November.
And your organization, I mean, I was looking at your statements about this task force, and it seems firm. We're not going back on these agreements an inch, I believe was what the official statement is from your side. And that's great. What does that, I mean, like, I think this is what happens on the left a lot, especially online lefties who are like the disorganized left. You know, they don't really have a party or a movement or a particular struggle that they're in, which is like sort of throwing up our hands before we even fight for something, you know? So it's like, oh, he's not going to make good on the promises. And it's like, yeah, but you have to make sure that he has to, right? There has to be some sort of demand. Otherwise, there's no way, there's no reason to make good on any of the commitments.
Yeah, I think the big push is, aside from just the election push, is the 100-day moratorium. If we get them to stop deportations for 100 days and then have this audit, that is like open the floodgates for like everything that people have gone through over the last several years, looking at what was the impacts of the Muslim and African ban, looking at the impacts of the border militarization, not only during the Trump administration, but before, and really get the immigrant rights movement and immigrant communities. Like there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. And it's almost like I kind of feel like it's smelling salts a little bit of just like, because people have been under such attack and they're just so tired. Yeah. And so I think that's kind of where we're looking at this is like push for those 100 days and then just it's a 100-day sprint and just fucking go ham. Just go ham. Like
right. First 100 days. If we ever get there, if this motherfucker actually, you know, leaves office, which I wanted to ask, and a couple of commenters, and I'm sorry I can't get to everyone's comments, but one, which I think was on my mind, Aldo on Facebook asks, how do you see the future if Trump is reelected, especially from the perspective of, you know, the Latinx community?
I'm an organizer, so I have to have some level of optimism. So I'm kind of thinking about it like COVID, where it's like, okay, this really fucking sucks. Shelter in place. I hate it. I hate the mask. I hate everything. But like, oh, wow, I'm really enjoying nature. I'm picking up bike riding. Like, I kind of imagine
110-degree heat.
Yeah. But like, I think it's going to be incredibly difficult. But I do think the other side of it is it's going to be incredibly politicizing. And for the Latinx community in particular is like, no, right? It's not, just work hard and put your head down and everything's going to be fine.
Nope.
Just get your papers and you're good.
No.
There is no ascending to whiteness in under like Trump style authoritarianism. And I think that will be the opportunity, but it will be very painful and very, very difficult. And I think what I can say after 4 years of Trump is you can't really plan. All you can do is prepare.
Wow.
I don't even have an earthquake kit. Zahra, you got an earthquake kit over there?
Yeah, man. I mean, I did this emotional work in 2016 because I am an Iranian, and I have heard, I'm Iranian American. I have heard the stories of my relatives, of families who escaped barely, of families who lived through it, and my family that's still there. And, we hear all this time travel, of like, is it going to be 1979 or 1978 Iran? Is it going to be 1929 Berlin?
Right.
I think in these times where we are up against so much stress and so much strife, we get so tired that we sometimes do the vision work of the villain. And we want to give up, because if we can give up, if we can let go, if we can say nothing I can do will matter, nothing I can do will change it, then we can get a break and we can rest.
Yeah.
I think the most important thing that we can do is to not time travel. Stay in the moment. Stay here in 2020, United States of America, and hold the line.
No New Zealand for you then?
No, because
I'm really it's looking good right now.
Listen, man, the world is small. This shit is gonna travel. These movements are everywhere. It will not end here. There's nowhere, this world is so small. There's nowhere in this tech age that we live in that we can flee to. We all are going to have to contend with this.
For sure. I feel like, going back to Cardi B, where I started this podcast talking about WAP, is she said before the 2016 election, like, stop gassing him, stop gassing Trump, just stop it. Like, stop, like, keep on future tripping about what is going to happen. And like, I think especially the media gassed Trump so much and just overinflated him, obviously gave him, whatever the billions of dollars of free advertising was. And I think there's a sort of disgusting fascination with how bad can it get. And I think we know. And it can get worse. And my fear, if there is a re-election, I think it will be politicizing. Obviously, we know it will be. My fear is that it'll be too much for folks, and that the response is, once again, bury my head and kind of like descend into, Egypt's present day almost, or like under a military dictatorship where you're just kind of like, well, if I don't stick my neck out, I'll be fine. Disappear. That kind of level of repression.
Yeah, but what solves all of that is FOMO. So if we're like, I'm not ducking my head, I'm not sticking my head down. No, I'm going to be a part of this. I'm going to be here in the present moment. I'm going to meet this. I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to find support. I'm going to find my squad, and we're a part. And then that's a movement that's kinetic that people will join. Everyone wants to let go, but we got to hold the line of democracy.
Absolutely. I mean, Marisa, I think you've been in this work for a long time. I feel like I've been adjacent and or in the work, and trying to make movements sexy enough so that there is FOMO is always the hard part of like, hey, don't you want to be in this meeting forever?
Yeah, we got the walrus. Come on, what are you talking about? We don't have sexy.
We brought a walrus for you, and there's pretzels and orange juice. You don't have to give blood, but we will take it. We'll take your blood mostly and your time. Anyway. Marisa, thank you so much. I want you back on this podcast because you're great. And thank you for explaining it and breaking it down for us. I know there are more questions, but we got to talk about the post office. We got to do this. We have a tradition on the Bituation Room podcast, which is new segment, first time. And every episode we've got a new segment usually. And our new segment for our final little outro is called Extreme Postal Makeover.
Yeah.
And that is because, as Marissa alluded to earlier, the head of the Postal Service, who is a Trump donor, but not like a big Chamber of Commerce or Ambassador Sondland type donor, probably like $100,000 last pick, either like head of the EPA or Postal Service or like some national garbage collection shit, and he's like, okay, fine, Postal Service. He is trying to reorganize the post office. He is reorganizing it, giving himself more power, reassigning or displacing 23 USPS executives. Among the targets are two top executives who oversee daily operations at the Postal Service. And it's funny timing because we have an election coming up and Trump is railing on mail-in ballots as if they are undemocratic / will get Democrats elected. So given all that, how do we reorganize the post office? What would you do to make the post office sexy, fun, flirty, amazing, so that people pay more attention to it and that it was protected? It doesn't have to be sexy, fun, or flirty. Just how do we protect and serve the post office in the year 2020 when Bezos can straight up drone deliver our tampons to us?
Man, so is this both of us? This is the challenge for both
for
of
all
us?
of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm ready. I'm ready. Because what is the opposite of destabilization? Infrastructure.
Yeah. That's the sequel.
Post office, you're so sexy. You have a thing called privacy in an envelope. Did you know email is like a postcard? Everybody reads it on its way out.
Wow. It's physical.
How about that? It's local, it's physical, and it's going to get rid of a president.
So infrastructure, what is this? This is you think infrastructure is sexy?
Oh my God, I am so turned on. Right? What?
Sexy. Snail mail is sexy.
Snail mail is so sexy.
When was the last time you got like a handwritten letter? Like,
oh my God, that's so hot. And the strokes, right?
Yep.
The strokes. I mean, and just the movement of a snail is just like slow and heavy and slimy.
Yeah, it's been a long, long time. The last handwritten letter, I was looking through my old stuff, and my ex, I think Marissa, you know him. I got a handwritten letter. I saw a handwritten letter from him, and I was like, oh shit. And it was very, very cute and adorable. And I realized why I saved it. It was like one of the good ones. It was solid. And I was like, we should get back together, JK. But yeah.
So I had a couple of little like very kind of maybe more from like I don't know. I started thinking about the paleteros and the ice cream trucks in my hood growing up. And so I was like, what if you had those little trucks are cool. Little delivery trucks. So it's like, what if you kind of had like, and everybody's home right now. Everybody's chilling. Like I want nothing more than like a street, like I want to be in a mosh pit with music. What if the postal service like delivery was like a booming like music, like just a boombox, not a boombox, but like a system. And it's like just like when it's rolling through, it's like playing music.
Yeah,
and
there's
like,
some holes in this house. There's some holes in this house.
I thought about like shouting out "Color of Change."
Yes.
We have done away. They've been fighting to get that show Cops taken off the air. So it's like, what if you replace Cops with like USPS?
Oh
like,
my God, that show needs to go.
Like,
yes, that's genius.
Yeah,
just
like
Bad Boys.
Yeah, like what, so you bring someone a letter, it's like their long lost ex being like, do you like me? Yes or no? What happens next? Just like
there isn't a reality show based on the USPS is fucking ridiculous in 2020.
Right. Why not? Right. And then just like, then I was like, the other thing, just very basic, but like massive jobs, like opening up.
There you go.
I think the demand and fucking right now, jobs are hella sexy and hella cool and hella needed. So that kind of makeover is exact. I mean, that would work. And then the last thing was randomly like kind of like bike messengers and like bike rentals as like a revenue stream. And then people can like, I started kind of playing around with that. Yeah, but I'll stop there. But the paletero kind of like boom.
She is a policy person. She's got solutions. Oh my God.
Boom, boom, boom.
Mine was so basic. So I got two ideas. They're connected. One is I think every post office should have a live bald eagle in it, just like the logo,
Damn.
and just be like, there's that eagle, and it's just like eating like it's like a bone, just staring at everyone, and there's just like a pile of shit under it. But you could get kids to go see the live eagle all the time. Like,
oh, that's
you
genius.
want to go see the eagle? Yeah, obviously. Let's mail a letter, blah. And then if that's not like hot enough, or like just we should make that eagle thick, like with 2 C's,
Yeah,
and
thick.
get some booty implants. Just like put a butt on it. I would say an eagle with a big old
Yes.
junk in its trunk.
Yes.
Make
that,
it.
You're a genius.
Yeah.
That's the slogan of 2020. Put a butt on it.
Yeah, exactly. Put a butt on it. That's a wet ass eagle, is what I'm saying. That's a wet ass. What are they? An aviary bird? What the fuck kind of animal is a bird?
Now I don't know.
No, I don't know.
Dinosaurs. They're dinosaurs. I saw.
Oh yeah, they're all dinosaurs. Marisa, Zahra, thank you guys so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you.
This has been so enlightening. This has been wonderful. Zahra, I'm looking forward to this musical.
I'm so ready, Zahra.
We got to make this album, you guys. We got to do it. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for giving me hope and an outlet to sing about infrastructure.
Oh yeah, Infrastructure Week. Yeah, I mean your idea definitely is the losing idea out of all three, I think. But you never look. Hamilton. It took a musical for me to give a shit about U.S. history, so or the founding fathers. So there you go. Zahra, where can we find you and your work?
You can find me at zahracomedian.com. And you can also catch me in an upcoming episode of United Shades on CNN with W. Kamau Bell.
Oh.
So great. And follow Zahra on all the things at Zahra Comedy. Thank you for being here. Take good care. And Marisa, where can we find you?
You can find me at Marisa_Franco or at Con Mijente to follow Mijente's work.
Yes, please follow Mijente's work. Get involved. Yes, just stay up on everything that they're doing and all their amazing work. Stay cool out there in Phoenix. Marisa, be well.
Thank you.
And thank you all for being here. Sherry, Clifford, Ulysses, Andrew, Daniel, Joseph, Dave, Tom, once again, holding down Twitch. I am Francesca Fiorentini. This has been the Bitchuation Room. And remember, a few very key things. Don't just bitch about it. Be about it. Vote. Because John Lewis took a bat to the head for everyone's right to do so. I'm a socialist. I believe in revolution and systemic overhaul. But I am also going to vote for Joe Biden. For strong handshake, tight-lipped, bony kiss Biden. Because the alternative is this.
When young Americans experience the breathtaking beauty of the Grand Canyon, when their eyes widen in amazement as Old Faithful bursts into the sky, when they gaze upon Yosemite's towering sequoias.
It's Yosemite, bitch. Bye.